Ladies and gentlemen, people of all genders, welcome to episode 10 of Mizan Podcast. This is Chef, I am Oleg, and this is Mike. And welcome to the shit show that we call our podcast.
Right, absolutely. Well, we've decided that we are bad influencers. Not just influencers, we are bad influencers. That's what...
Care to explain?
This is just our podcast, and it's what goes, man. I felt it was great. We were out in the public this week, and people were like, "Oh my God, you got a podcast!" They happened to be our friends, but it was still like, "Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool."
They got us free shots. They pretend we were celebrities.
It was great for 5 minutes, you know.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
great.
So hey, look at that. So thank you to all the subscribers. 126, I think, at the moment.
All strong.
That's pretty awesome. All strong. Yes.
Whoop, whoop.
From all likes of Earth, I get to see where they come from, and they're from all over the world. Subscribers from all over the world. That's pretty awesome. Big shout out to Red's Hot Dog Stand, of course, on Staten Island. The best wieners you could get. You won't know it until you stick one in your mouth, but they're really good wieners. She's got great barkers and the brotato. Can't go wrong with a brotato. That's a Staten Island potato. If you don't know about it, go down to Red's, check it out, because now you'll know and you're fully informed on the brotato. Are you okay?
It was the brotato bit, wasn't it? Yeah.
So what's going on, everybody? How was your week? Anything new happen? Busy weekend?
Yeah, I was.
Nothing?
It was good. Went out to eat the other day. Went out to eat in Long Island. Instead of a regular breakfast spot that I normally go to, I decided to try out this Latin spot, and it was actually really good.
Nice. Did you get a Latin breakfast?
I did. I get a huevos rancheros.
Oh,
Boy.
And I rolled the R when I ordered to that to make sure they know I don't fuck around.
Did you say whoever you were with? Hold on, I got this. I'll order. She's gonna have the fajitas.
No.
No.
Bro, down the line, like at the end in the corner, somebody after the end of the order, they were like, "Gracias." I was like, that was the whitest fucking thing. Like she's a walking meme. It was a lady in her 50s, like blonde, fucking bowl cut.
Karen.
Yeah,
Oh,
Karen.
man.
Karen.
Typical Karen. She came with a party of 10. One of the guys with a cop. He gave the.
And they would go to a wine tasting after the North Fork.
He gave the waiter a PBA card. The waiter didn't know what it was. He's like, "Oh,
Why didn't the
Thank
waiter
you.
know
Wow,
what
what
it
a
was?
cheap bastard. Instead of giving $10, $20, he gives him a PBA card.
yeah." As soon as he walked in, he gave him his PBA card, and he's like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "Oh no." He's like, "What is this for?"
Doesn't work in Long Island.
He's like, "What? Right? Just because I'm a waiter, you think I'm gonna go get drunk? That would be a terrible thing to do. Who does that these days?"
But it was great food. Everything was fresh, including even like the refried beans. Like it was freshly made. Like everything, every aspect of that food was freshly made.
See, that would be a misconception. You would think refried beans are already made, and then they'd have to be just fried to be refried.
They're made initially, and then the secondary stage of making them, like that's when you add the pork lard and other things to make it like extra flavor, and a good refried bean like is a staple. And even they had an option of you get either regular white bread or they get fresh homemade tortillas. And like they were hand rolled tortillas.
So the Mexican restaurant, I would think, with huevos rancheros.
It was a Latin restaurant.
It was Latin. It was Latin. They offers you white bread.
I don't know. It was a cool little diner. Like
No, that's
it,
awesome.
It was
That
an
sounds
old
good.
school like Airstream type diner, like old stainless steel, and the inside had like live edge tables and shit.
I bet you weren't
cool.
disappointed.
Not at all. I
Not
was
at all.
very happy.
It was a happy meal.
It was definitely a happy.
Everything was
Like every aspect of that meal was great.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. I didn't have anything great to eat this week. I'm sorry to say.
I had a tomahawk yesterday.
Oh, was it a 2-for-1?
Yes, it was.
80-ounce tomahawk that comes with a choice of 3 sides. You get a
3
Caesar
sides.
salad
Hold on,
included
hold on,
with
hold
it,
on, hold
a
on.
bottle of wine.
3
it's
sides.
It's the standard borough thing.
I only got 2 sides.
Uh-oh, where'd you go?
I don't want to call out people on.
Obviously, you didn't go to the right places because there's a lot of places that you would get 3 sides. Was your tomahawk hanging from something when they brought it out, and did they set it on fire and burn fucking rosemary like they were saging for ghosts?
No, it was just on a
That
plate.
shit gets to me.
Nothing fancy.
That shit bothers. Just serve me the food
You do know tomahawks are just ribeye on the stick, right?
Yeah, I know.
on a stick.
That's all it is.
Scrape the
know.
bone.
I know.
And you're paying like an extra $100 just for the stick.
And an extra $25 if you want them to hang it from something.
That's for the
apparently, and light it
presentation.
on
I didn't,
fire.
I,
That's-
didn't, I didn't pay for the extra
And then the
presentation
best
part.
is they got the little bowl of potatoes underneath it. I don't want my food to catch on fire. Did you see the video on like fucking
Yeah,
TikTok?
when
or
that
what?
kitchen caught on the whole
The whole
yeah,
Hansel
it was
system
great.
and everything went off. Everybody's like,
Amazing.
yeah,
Oh, it's not part of the show?
that's not supposed to happen. Yeah, I hate people that do stupid things with food. The super wow, whatever the fucking little Turkish ice cream and shit, and you flip it around. Still, don't do that to my table. Don't come there. Also, I'm a firm believer in why are you paying for that? We've talked about this before, but it just chaps my ass. Man. I just hate
It's
stupid
definitely
shit.
a show-off move because it's one of the things that we've never been able to afford and do normally. But it's one of those things that you do just to be able to show off to your date. It's not something you do on a regular basis. It's something you do once or twice. It's like going to the city. There's a spot there that has a $1,000 ice cream that it's $1,000 sundae, and it's one of those things that you do once in your life. At the end of the meal, they give you the spoon that you eat with. The spoon that you eat with is a solid gold spoon.
I thought it'd be a silver spoon since it would be.
No, it's a 14 karat, whatever, like the 18 karat, whatever it is. But it's a gold plated or gold whatever spoon. And at the end of the meal, they give you that spoon that goes with the sundae.
Well, for $1,000, they better give me
Yeah, but I
something.
am not paying $1,000.
No.
Right?
But it's but again, it's one of those things when you have millions to spare.
Yeah,
like
that's literally.
$1,000 ice cream is like to you and me paying $15 for a fancy sundae. You know, like
My issue with these
fucking
places
money.
that do the shows and everything,
It is.
their food is not. Their food is okay.
No,
So in order for them to make it seem like it's special, they sit there and they do that.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
do
hocus
presentation.
pocus
It's
stuff.
the gimmick. It's
when,
Yeah,
you,
it's a gimmick.
when,
It's
it, when it
gimmick.
lacks flavor, they do presentation. It's like the people who can't fight. They talk a lot of shit before they fight. You know,
I mean, you're not
You know,
wrong.
it gets, but listen, we can sit there and bash them all we want, but it's annoying to me just because I'm not a showman like that. I mean, I like to be behind the grill, but I'm not gonna do things. That's not my style of catering, and I do and have done a lot of catering and high end events too. But I'm just, the tomahawks are new. That's a new thing. But then these things, and you got people arguing about, that was my idea first of doing this, and it's everybody wants to be on top, but it's social media that makes it all famous, and anybody's able to do it. So now you have people going to these places, and it's not just for the food; it's for the fucking show that these that these people are going to put on. That there's really that's just what it is. It's not about the food no more. It's about entertainment.
Right.
It's an entertainment. It's not. It's
No,
experience. It's not a food experience to a point.
yeah.
I think times have ruined that about food. Wow, is that a good thing to say? Like time ruined, like social media ruined food in a way. I think.
Well,
besides
social
making
media
it
has ruined a
popular,
lot of
it's
things.
It's made everybody chefs. It's made everybody critics. It made some things unenjoyable, and it's made it to the point where now you just go out for an experience instead of really going out for the food. You're just
Right.
there for the fucking
Yeah.
pictures
Like,
and whatever. It
I
could
play
be.
a chef on the internet.
There for the
You're a great one.
There for the pictures. My phone has a food mode that if you hold your phone like this, it goes into a food mode and optimizes for the best view and to take a picture of food. Like it zooms in on the center and blends everything else out to make it look all fancy.
And again, it's all for, it's
all for the
listen,
gram.
It works. It works. Hey, look, can't wait for the weather to get warm so we can go outside. And, shit, let's call it as it is.
You ain't wrong.
I am not. So one thing we were talking about, we were going to jump onto today was the pandemic. call it the pandemic, ruined the service industry. I know it ruined your job, my job, lots of jobs out there. It was a really bad time for the service industry. Where were you when it happened? Where were you? I know exactly where I was.
At the time, I was at home. Because at the time,
It's a good place.
at the time I was working for a company that decided to put me on salary before, and they put me on salary the year prior. So I was working all the way up until New Year, and then for like a good 2 3 months, I was just at home sitting there getting paid, and then that was at the time that we were doing catering and doing food truck things, and one of the companies that I was working for, we were supposed to be doing Great American Food Truck Race in Alaska, and we were supposed to be well, not me, but our bosses were supposed to be going out there to train the crews how to run all the food trucks and things like that. And one of my bosses ended up catching COVID in Alaska, of all places. So when he came back, he basically fired half the people and kind of softly shut down the company for a little bit.
And then it just stayed.
And I was one of the first people to go because he's like, your salary, you haven't worked in 3 months. We're cutting loose ends, and I'm gonna fire you. I was like, well, that's uncalled for.
Everything happened so fucking fast,
I was like,
man.
I thought we were friends. Like, what are we doing here?
When
So
it comes
the-
down to his money.
Yeah, and he ended up he did it right by everybody, but still, like, it was not fun getting fired. So then it turned into trying to look for other jobs because you don't want to. One, you need money. Two, you don't want to sit home, and there were not many options. So throughout the pandemic, I had so many different odd end jobs. Like when the pandemic first started, I was doing cleaning of corporate offices and sanitizing it while not wearing PPE or anything like that. Not
You
vaccinated.
you had to do what you had to do just to make money or to keep yourself
Yeah.
occupied before you realized any shit was really going down. I mean, I remember I was in San Fran, and it was me, Chef Mike, Chef I think Matt was out there, and a couple of other ones, and I was like one of the last ones to go out there to San Fran to do this opening, and they were all sick already. They had us an Airbnb, and that's where all the chefs stayed. We rotated out of there every bit to go in to do this opening, and they were all sick. Everybody's got the flu. People at the California Arts and Science Center had the whatever it was. So not really knowing it, they fly back. Everybody flies back, and I get the call out there like, yeah, you have to. You're coming back to New York. They're gonna start shutting things down. So you start hearing about this, and I'm on a plane with just a bunch of people, and who's coughing, and who's next to you. I'm like, just cover your fucking mouth or something. I'm like, what the hell? Nobody knows what's going on. And then just to get back, and everything shut down. We worked in the city, and it was just, trying to find places for people to go. And then, just realizing there's nothing, there's no, what you did, business dining, or the buildings were shut down and shit, man. That was a crazy time, and you do find to do whatever you did. You did cleaning. I did
Cleaning. I did. I worked for a moving company. I worked. I made pizza for about a year in a little mob joint.
Nice.
That's when I had kitchen brass knuckles.
That was a
It was
funny
easier
place,
to make
man.
the dough, right?
Yeah, that was a funny place. Yeah, shit. I drove an hour and 20 minutes just to work up to upstate.
You had to pay your bills, right?
You got to pay
Yeah.
your bills, man. I just couldn't sit there and not do anything, man. It was killing me. I mean, we wound up having a good time when we were in isolation. I remember we used to do video meetings or Zoom meetings at the beginning.
Yeah.
All of us, everybody's hands like this because you didn't get fucking haircuts. It was one eye open, one eye closed. Everybody looked like Forrest Whitaker. It was just like shit, man. But it was, you know, you pull out of it.
No, we made the best of it. The thing is, like, it fucked a lot of things up. It raised the food costs and everything, and ever since, people keep asking, why did food costs go up? Is everything more expensive to dine in? But even the simple things like the chicken wings that they get, one, the wings went up in price. Two, the oil that they use to fry the chicken wings went up 3 times at least.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
the fry oil.
Yeah,
and then
that's
plus,
what I'm talking about, the fry oil. Yeah.
Yeah, and then plus, you know, the chickens, because there wasn't enough labor for the feed. They weren't regrowing or regenerating wings as often as possible. So the price and everything just went up through the roof because they just couldn't regenerate the. I'm really fucking kidding. Chickens don't regenerate wings.
That's why I'm shaking my head.
No, but even things like
Genetic
fucking,
chicken.
they were genetic chicken. Like PC ketchups. Couldn't get ketchup for a while.
Yeah.
Couldn't get ketchup. Fry oils were up, and then eggs and everything. But seriously, people didn't realize that, you know, everything affects everything, and then you have only things moving by trucks. So why is the price of eggs up? Well, you know, there's literally no feed. There's no labor. Mm-hmm. You know, there's nobody to transport. So literally, it's an effective thing. And then you have people buying for like, I can't think of the word, but like for safety issues, you know. So of course the canned goods
the
are up
PPE.
because for you know, preparing, you know, everybody's prepping. So everything goes up, you know, but it still has lingering effects to this day. I still see it, you know. Fucking ground beef is through the roof.
Yeah.
You know, prices on shit. It's you know, it's
Even like last year, remember the egg crisis? When eggs went up like out of nowhere by like twice, and then went back down. Tell me that's not planned.
we could talk about eggs. I had somebody the other day try to convince me that brown eggs and white eggs cook different.
That's racist.
I don't agree. I don't think they do. It's racist. Well, everything's the same on the inside, cracking eggs. So it doesn't matter what color you are. That's just how it is here on the Mies and Podcast. We have no color. We have no judgment. We're just 2.5 idiots that
One's
somebody
an
gave
egg,
a
one's a huevo.
microphone to. Yeah, man, no, but I seriously had somebody, and this was a dead-ass answer, and they were like, yeah, well, that's why, you know, the brown eggs cook different than the white eggs. And I was just like, when I was on a video call, and there was 7 other people, and I was just like, it was drinking the water, like that meme. I'm like, okay.
Do I say something or do I not?
Yeah, eggs. Eggs are difficult to cook. I had a conversation with my brother and one of my buddies about making the French omelet the other day. And
Call Gordon.
eggs are a pain in the ass. Gordon Ramsay, scrambled eggs.
Yeah, call Gordon.
What do you think of those?
I love them, man. They're great, especially when he sits there and he just talks and he's just, well, you gotta do it.
And at the end, you add the creme fraiche.
And
Yeah, the creme fraiche.
That's how he talks?
I don't know how the fuck he talks. I can't do a British accent.
How do you feel about Gordon's scrambled eggs?
I hate them.
Why?
Maybe
Why
you
would
got
you
a
hate?
problem?
Why would
Because
you
it's
hate them?
not something you could ever do on the line. It's something you could.
Well, yeah, that I agree.
The way
You are never pulling that off.
The way
Not any
he-
restaurants that we've worked in.
the way
no
he makes
reality.
his eggs is something you do for your girlfriend once a
Yes.
month
Yeah.
At home.
to show off. Like cooking it 30 seconds on the flame, off the flame, scramble, put it back on, 30 more. Like,
But
nobody's doing that.
You say that though, but he makes it sound like it's so
Of course,
easy.
because he doesn't have 6 people yelling at him.
He's the one yelling.
They got
Exactly,
to be timed out with it. So yeah, of course you can fucking do this. In reality, that's not how. I
No,
definitely
but
do not make scrambled
I've
eggs.
had
I make a good
jobs
omelet, but I don't-
where you work and you get hired
cook it
for
like that.
brunch and things like that. And
Fuck brunch.
and one of the things that you're supposed to know during your interview, they put you in front of a hot stone. They tell you to make a crepe from scratch. They tell you to make eggs in 3 different ways and all these other things. And if you can't do it, you can't pass it to be on the line. And you're expected to be perfected. You're able to scramble it, fold them, do part boiled, soft boiled, do every type of you can imagine. And if you're trying to work a breakfast shift or brunch or whatever it is that everybody hates.
He hates brunch.
Everybody hates brunch, but at the end of the day, when nobody else wants to work brunch,
Oh, you got to do it.
you do it because everybody you get money, and then you get tips from the drunk people that order 15 mimosas during lunch, you know?
People that go out to bottomless brunch and they don't realize it's just the drinks and they think it's the food.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be going to bottomless brunch just for the food all the time.
Oh my goodness!
But I would put them out of house and home. But Oleg, tell us, how do you make the hard boiled egg?
Well, how did we jump to hard-boiled eggs? So
He brought up the hard boiled egg.
So wait a second. So for everybody that doesn't know, we were talking earlier, but so we have this thing about these eggs. All right, our eggs. It seems to be a discrimination against brown eggs cooking differently than white eggs, which we don't see that, but there's a world that does believe that. It's so crazy. But we were talking about boiling eggs, and I had, he said you can't go by time, which we'll talk about later. But a 6-minute egg isn't really a 6-minute egg. I mean, if we think about it.
No, like a lot of people, like there are all these forums for when you're making ramen and an authentic dish, how 6-minute eggs are life because you make a hard-boiled egg that comes out soft on the inside instead of hard-boiled, and it's look nice again for the pictures, you know. Like,
yeah, but still, it's got a great flavor on it. But I think it's just more of something that comes up from sight because we spoke about. So do you start your eggs off in cold water? Or do you start your eggs off in boiling water? And I think there's two different types of people. Now I've done them both. I know you said it earlier, and you said if I'm cooking at home, I'm not doing it to. I'm doing it just to sustain.
If I'm cooking at home, I'll put the eggs in the pot and fill them with water and boil it that way. If I'm doing it at a job, like I'll have a thing where I can pack eggs and submerge it.
Submerge them. Because the last thing you want.
I'll submerge them and cook them evenly, exactly like the way you would do like a pasta or something like that.
Exactly. But I think there's a big thing, and you'll always get people that started off in cold water and then go to a boil, or started off. But I'm not a fan of starting off with hot water, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that starting anything off with hot water, especially like in commercial kitchens, is something that people don't think about. I just think it offsets the flavor. Because I think hot water's in a pipe, it's sitting in there, everything's just broken down or whatever already. You start off with cold water, it's cold, crisp water. Water boils at 212, no matter it's hot, lukewarm, fucking cold, whatever the case. Still going to boil at the same temperature. It's not going to get, whether it gets there, it doesn't make a difference. It still boils at that. But I think there's a difference between starting off in hot water and starting something off like, it stocks or whatever. It's just, it totally offsets the flavor. There's definitely something there.
Does that work also for pasta and such?
What do you mean?
Well,
water boils at a certain degree.
No, I understand that. I'm saying, do you do the same thing with pasta? Put pasta in cold water and then have it boil?
No, you're missing. You wouldn't put pasta in cold water.
Right.
You start your water off.
You start you off as cold. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I understand now. Okay.
Do never eat pasta from his house if he does it like that. Don't with a beard like that. You think he knew how to cook?
No. I play a chef on the internet. I'm not at home cooking.
You're
see?
a chef-ernet.
See, he's not me. I make minute rice in 59 seconds.
Nice.
And I don't care what you say. If I'm cooking something out of the box, I'm still reading the directions.
I think that's everybody.
Elio's Pizza. Cooked 425 for 15 minutes.
Made it 425 times already.
I've taken it out of the garbage just to read the box again. Like, all right, it's right. I just want to make sure that's right. Do it 1,000 times. Not even that. I just do things with food 1,000 times. Yet here we are. I think it's just a consistency.
Well, that's because the box has directions. But you want to follow the directions.
It's funny. That comes. Oh, we got so much on fucking directions. And listen, if you cook by.
You cook by
time.
feel. You cook by. You can't cook by time because every oven cooks different. They'll tell you a time, but at the and then at the end of the recipe, they'll tell you. Cook it till it's golden brown, or till it starts bubbling on. But that's what you really got to look for, and you got to figure it out based to your own oven or your own cooking setup, because every setup will be different. In one place, it could be 15 minutes, and other it could be 17. And those 2 minutes make or break a dish.
Yeah. So and cooking and cooking commercially, let's call it that, in restaurants and for a livelihood is a lot different than what you see. You have certain guys now coming out. and hopefully in a couple of episodes we could mention them. We're trying to make to reach out to some people. But you have these guys coming out now that have that are doing these social medias where they're showing what it's like on the line. And some of them are getting some ridicule from it because shit happens, man. And if you want to be live on the line, shit happens, and that's what it's like in a kitchen. So don't critique these guys. This is what it's like. This is what the life is, and it's dirty cooking sometimes. We're gritty people, and we've got a job to do, man. And it's just pumping things out. So no, there's not 30 seconds to put your eggs on and take them off. All fried eggs are being done the same way at friggin' brunch. And that's just how it is. And don't order an egg, over medium, well-ish. Don't do things like that on a brunch. And it's just the concept of the beef.
One of my jobs when I was cooking during the trial, dropped a lobster. The guy said, "Pick it up. What do you do now?"
Put it back in the fucking water.
No, it was like pretty much fully. It fell off the grill type shit.
All right.
And the guy looks at me. He's like, "So what are we doing now? You got to serve it." I was like, "What are we doing? What am I doing?" He said, "Whatever you do now depends on whether or not you get the job."
You ate the lobster?
No, I cooked it up and served it. He said if you would have thrown out my lobster, I would have fired you.
Absolutely, and I'm going to be honest with you, man. That's what I mean by gritty might be the wrong word. You know why? Because I had somebody describe one of the facilities I have as grubby to me. So gritty might be the wrong word. And I had to look up grubby because I was like, wait a second. How do you describe a place like that? That's like a person. So I was like, are you considering me or not? No, this is what we meant. So let's change the word gritty around to that's just how we cook, and that's how shit happens. I'm sorry, there is a 5-second rule in the kitchen.
It is.
There's a 5-second rule in the kitchen. You might not like to hear it, but I've done it. I'll be the first one to put it out there on social. I've dropped shit on the floor and said, all right, you know what? Pop it back in the fryer. Boom, it's going.
But the 5-second rule is real, though. They did a whole.
It is.
They did a whole MythBusters episode.
And you don't want to eat my pasta.
It is. I'm not eating your pasta because you're boiling it in cold water. But still, man, no, I'm not saying it like that. Listen, I'm not saying I'm dropping shit on the floor on purpose. I'm saying when there's a rush and you're doing something and your shrimp flies out of my saute pan and lands on the surface between saute and the fryer that's right there.
Oh, that's
I'm
when you're
grabbing
lucky.
your shrimp. It's going in. You drop a lobster that, we're paying X amount of dollars for, it's going out for $52. You drop it on the floor, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it that you can put it back on the fucking grill. You're putting the lobster back on the grill, or I would have fired your ass too. That's 100%. And if you're out there and you're in the restaurant industry, you prove me wrong and tell me different.
Or rather, show us different.
And I knew that was the right thing to do, like industry-wise, because I would have done it 9 out of 10 times.
It is 100%.
Because
it happens all the
especially
time.
like lobster, like you're looking at $20, $30 plate at least. So for a cook to drop that, you're gonna get scrutinized for that.
And it's not like don't think, the steak falls on the floor. Here comes Oleg from Saute. He's like, elbow on the steak, and people are pile driving it, and this one jumping on it. He's going, your steak. No, it's not that. It's like, oh shit, I did it. Now it's going back. Nothing wrong with it. You did it as a child.
If it goes over 180 degrees, it burns off and you're good.
We drank out of water fountains, garter hoses,
Puddles.
and cement fountains in Caniac Park on Long Island.
You had fountains?
Yeah, we did. It's made out of cement.
Fancy.
We did. They were made out of cement, though.
Really?
Chernobyl.
Did you use straw?
Not in Mother Russia, no fountain. There's nothing. That brings me up to another thing real quick, man. While we're talking about it, we're going to end this soon. But salt isn't a flavor enhancer. Salt is not a flavor. It's not a seasoning. Don't use it as one.
No, salt doesn't enhance flavor. I feel like you ever have watermelon with a little bit of salt on it?
Yeah, well, anything you put salt on, the flavor you get is because salt dissolves. That's the flavor.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting from because it's a chemical element, whatever the hell it is. But it's not. And I see people, you see people, and we were talking about that the other day online. People over salt for this, and that's one of the reasons why I got salt and pepper shakers tattooed on different hands. And it was because when I was traveling, we were doing openings, I'd go to places and and anywhere, and even restaurants I work, salt and pepper's mixed
Already
pre-mixed. I can't do that. How can you do that? So people are like, it's a
never
2 to 1
the same
ratio.
No,
it's
you
not.
can't.
It's different. It's different. And my buddy
It never
was talking
pours
about,
right. It never pours right because they're not the same
no,
grain
it's not
consistency.
gonna. It's not gonna. And then no, how do you do that? No. It goes salt and pepper. And, my buddy was like, I've been to some place where they use iodized salt. If you're in your restaurant and you use iodized salt when you're seasoning shit, you add your table salt.
Yeah.
How do you use table salt and not cracked black pepper, too? You can't do that. Restaurants are made for cracked black pepper, kosher salt. If you're fancy, a Himalayan salt.
All flakes.
Salt flakes.
Himalayan.
Like this, yay.
Does it bounce off of your elbow?
It flies.
It does sometimes. Salt does fly. It's very
Like
light.
Salt Bay?
Yeah. So that's all. That's I don't know, guys. That's my rants. Those are my raves. This is our podcast. What do you got for tonight? Do we have a ticket coming in? Is there anybody sit? Of course. Everybody fucking 5 minutes before we close, somebody's got to come in, and it just so happens to be Oleg's.
Hold up.
Just a tip.
What the fuck? So Oleg's tip of the week is keep your tip sharp and keep your knives sharp. If you can't afford a great knife, get a good sharpener, or at least be friends with the whetstone. And using the whetstone is another thing that when you're on in the industry and you have a little bit of downtime, you will never get penalized for sharpening your blades. Instead of just standing there dozing off, you can relax and just casually sharpen your blades and you're not slacking off. You're being productive. You're honing your tool, and you're being a great cook.
That's it, man. You're making sure your mise en place is good because
Exactly.
even your knives are.
The most important thing is as long as your blade is sharp, because people get cut with a dull blade.
But you can't do your mise en place, right, if you ain't got a good knife, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chef. This is Oleg. That's Mike Spade. This is the Mise en Podcast, Stories from the Dish Pit, episode 10.
Episode 10.
Who thought we would have got here? Who thunked it? We did. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.
For the record, I don't do my pasta in cold water. Just so you all know. I was just trying to be funny.
Yet to be determined.
Yes.
We'll see you as episode 11.